located just about 6 miles west of that famed facility in Speedway, Indiana. It is Lucas Oil Raceway here on the iRacing Network, newly renamed or back to an old name, the Indianapolis Raceway Park. And for drivers in the road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires, it is most definitely a big part of the month of May. Welcome, folks, to the TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries here on Apex Racing. My name's Rob Howden, and I will be joined by Joshua Lee throughout the day. Gorgeous day here, 66 degrees, ambient temperature of the racetrack up to 81. Joshua Lee, a 5/8 mile racetrack, much different than what we saw last week when we raced at Virginia International Raceway. We're going left all day long. It's going to be a lot of fun here at Lucas Oil Raceway.
But it is much more of a challenge than just that, Rob. Yes, we're not going to be making any right-hand turns, or if you're making any right-hand turns, something has gone very, very wrong. But even though you're only turning left, it is going to be a big challenge for these drivers, especially with that draft, especially with these packs that we're going to get to see develop. I just commentated a race last night at Gateway in these same Indy Pro 2000 cars, and it was pack racing like we see in the NASCAR side at Daytona and Talladega. Wondering if we'll see some of the same today, especially because the outside line here at IRP is so dominant.
Primary qualifying underway right now. We'll have the shootout when we get back from our first break. But indeed, this track, all about training these young drivers to be ready for the NTT IndyCar Series. We run one oval in the USF 2000, two ovals for the drivers in the Indy Pro 2000 category, and that's the cars we're racing today, the Indy Pro 2000 PM18s. A very quick race car. You got to roll high, as we said. But right now, let's bring in Greg DeGeorgis from Symmetric Driver Performance Labs. Greg, what do you think your keys to the race are today?
Hey Rob, hi Josh. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, I'm glad to be back to present this week's keys to the race. First and foremost, tire management is absolutely going to be key. I'm not really talking about grip management due to wear. That's pretty low and manageable over a racing distance, but what I am talking about is temperature management, especially with just two very short pace laps here. Drivers are going to want to do everything they can to get heat in the tires so that they have peak grip levels for the green flag drop. I drove here on iRacing myself quite a lot this week, and let me tell you, this car is really dicey to drive if you don't get the tires up to temperature. Likewise, drivers are going to want to do everything they can to keep their tires warm if we see any full course yellows. Next up, I think it's really important, as Josh alluded to, the drivers know all the lines around. The fastest line is, of course, the high line right up against the outside wall, but the low line, or the low lines, should I say, aren't exactly the fastest way around. They need to be driven a little bit more conservatively, but it is important for drivers to know their way around there with passing and defending. Let's also hope that none of our drivers tonight have claustrophobia, because everyone will be up close and personal tonight. As in past races here, both real and virtual, the racing is the closest it will ever be in the road to Indy. Especially with this being iRacing, drivers also need to leave a little bit of room for netcode. Also with the high line and the low line, that means we'll definitely see 2 and possibly even 3 wide scenarios. I do think that drivers who have either triple screen setups on their sims or VR will definitely have an advantage when it comes to looking and seeing everyone around. Back to you, Rob.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Greg, a lot goes into finding success here at IRP, or again, as I said, Lucas Oil a Raceway, when we're talking about running here in the iRacing virtual world. Should be a lot of fun to watch things get underway. It's going to be a tremendous race for sure. Drivers just capping off qualifying. As I had said before, we will have a Fast 6 shootout coming up here as well. That'll be coming momentarily after drivers have worked their way in to get things underway. And again, qualifying done, lots of great keys to the race. It is tough, it's a hard racetrack, and Greg gave you a lot of fantastic insight. Back trackside, the top 6 drivers from qualifying will be rolling out for their shootout runs. So let's head to the IndyCar Ministry Chaplain, Jason Holt, for the invocation, followed by the national anthem.
Let's pray. God, thank you so much for the gift of life, the gift of today. Lord, and for the opportunity these drivers have to showcase their talents in such a unique and interesting way through technology. We pray that all would go well, would go smooth with technology, God, that we'd have a fun and a great day of racing. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
So, we buy shoes online, and socks, and shoe socks, and baby food, dog food, parrot food, gardening tools, art supplies, college classes, scarf, the scarf tube, sleeping bag suit? Yeah. So why not buy tires online? TireRack.com is North America's largest online retailer of tires. Find, buy, then have them shipped to one of our trusted independent installers for safe, easy installation. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. Online, with all that other stuff.
Welcome back to the virtual Lucas Oil Raceway, or as we will refer to it here in 2022, back to Indianapolis Raceway Park, IRP. Rob Howden here in the Cooper Tire Broadcast Center, alongside Joshua Lee and Greg DeGeorgis. Joshua, about 2.5 minutes remaining. What is shootout qualifying? The top 6 drivers from qualifying, 22 drivers in total here today, but the top 6 getting an opportunity to head back out onto the track for 5 minutes to dice it out. And here's the key, right? Open racetrack, really chance to get kind of at it. Maybe a draft depending on where you play. But these last couple of minutes here should be interesting to see who is going to be up top before it's all said and done.
And I'm definitely interested to see which drivers, because we are in open qualifying, right? It is not single car qualifying where we have a set lap count and they can do as many laps through that as they want. We have just 21 minutes of open track, and of course about 18.5 of that is now down, and we have about 2.5 of it remaining. But with that said, gives the drivers an opportunity to get a bit of a slipstream, get a bit of a draft from the drivers around them to put in a faster time. Alessandro Di Tullio, great finishes from him last week when we went to Virginia. He was able to, at the top of the board now, run a 19.59 as his fastest lap. Nobody able to get relatively close. A 19.66 is the second place time from Frank Mossman.
We are watching Evagoras Papasavas right now. He's a young kart racer who will be moving up into the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship this year with Jay Howard Driver Development. Great for Evagoras to get himself into this Fast 6 shootout. You mentioned Alessandro Di Tullio, winner at the Superkarts USA Winter Series opener in Homestead, Florida, the karting event just a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, he was definitely an impressive driver when we saw them last week at the Road to Indy Prospects race. Frankie Mossman, love to see Frankie here right now, a young driver out of Southern California. Frankie's done some pretty impressive kart racing, but is aiming to be potentially in the USF 2000 grid full-time in 2023, but lining up to be part of the month of May festivities at the Grand Prix of Indianapolis midway through the month, and then, of course, running here at Lucas Oil Raceway, Indianapolis Raceway Park, for what would be the Freedom 75 for USF 2000 drivers. Here's Mackenzie Clark, the young Canadian in the Clark Motorsports machine out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Mackenzie was one of the other winners alongside Di Tullio at the opening round, the Road to Indy Prospects race last Wednesday at Virginia International Raceway. Joshua had mentioned he's looking good here too, and again working his way into the top 6. This is an interesting top 6, Joshua. Let me just roll it out here for you. We've got Alessandro Di Tullio and Frankie Mossman, a couple of drivers who are essentially kart racers looking to move up the ranks. Then you've got Evagoras Papasavas, as we said, who has been a karter, but has done a lot of testing. He's going USF 2000 racing this year. You got Mackenzie Clark, who ran F4 last year, and is trying to get into the USF Juniors program. And then you got Nikita Lastashkin, the Russian-born driver who lives in Los Angeles. He ran all last year in the Indy Lights program. And then Matt Brabham, number 83. Big news this year, Matt Brabham coming back to run Indy Lights. 2012 Cooper Tires USF 2000 champion, 2013 Indy Pro 2000 champion, and then he ran Indy Lights and, of course, a couple of starts in the Indianapolis 500 as well. We've got ourselves a very diverse run as we're getting ready to cap off this qualifying session. Amazing, the drivers we had in the Fast 6.
A lot of drivers in this field as well that you could put money on them to win this race. It really is anybody's game as we get ready to go racing, Rob, because we're at an oval, anything can happen.
So here he is, folks, the winner of the Symmetric Pole Award, Alessandro Di Tullio, will start on the pole position. The Parolin USA, his karting team, a 19.588 fast lap for Di Tullio here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. He'll start things off. Frankie Mossman, though, doing exactly what he wanted to do, get some experience before the Freedom 75 this coming May. Looking very good, the number 77 for Mossman Motorsports. He'll start on the outside of row number 1. Row 2, Nikita Lastishkin, as I mentioned, hoping to get back into the Indy Lights grid here for 2022. And Ivagoras Papasavas for Jay Howard. Driver development, just 0.08 of a second back, starting on the outside of row 2.
There is your feature race winner from 1 week ago, Mackenzie Clark to the outside of Matt Brabham. You got Victor Anderson and Noah Ping. They're going to share that 4th row, a pair of Velocity Racing development drivers.
Yeah, Anderson actually just announcing that program that he'll run with Velocity Racing Development this year. Noah Ping's going to be in the USF Juniors program. Moving back into row number 5, Benjamin Peterson, the front runner for this year's Indy Lights Championship, no doubt about that. Peterson in that number 24 for Global Racing Group with HMD Motorsports. He'll start alongside Jonathan Brown, the young Irish driver who's coming over to run with Turn 3 Motorsport, a Formula Ford superstar in the UK. He's coming over to run Indy Pro 2000. Just actually landed here in the U.S. yesterday, so got some seat time and on the sim at Peter Dempsey's place, and he's out here racing. And then we'll move to row number 6, Dean Dibdahl, who has been representing the World Karting Association so well, qualifying through the Road to Indy Prospect race last week. And he'll start alongside Josh Green in the machine for Turn 3 Motorsports. Josh Green moving to Indy Pro 2000 this year.
And there's another Turn 3 Motorsport driver there to the inside of the 7th row. Christian Ware sits in the number 32. Titus Sherlock, he had some great racing in that Elite Esports number 13 1 week ago as well. He is going to start there in the outside of row number 7 in 14th. Connor Gutting and Chase Gardner are going to share the 15th and 16th spots on the 8th row of the grid. As we continue to look down, Rob, it just gets better as we take a look at the rest of the names.
Yeah, let's have a look at the rest of this field right now. Dylan Christie, the D-Force Racing entry number 11, starting 17th alongside the young driver out of New Zealand. Billy Fraser for Exclusive Autosport, he'll start 18th. Jason Pribble and Elliot Cox will be on row number 10. The Jason Pribble Autosports number 59 on the inside. Cox for Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing on the outside in the 67. Colin Kaminsky for Pabst Racing in the number 27, starting 21st. Yeo-Roo Lee coming out of the Lucas Oil School of Racing for Jay Howard Driver Development in 22nd. And Trey Burke for Joe Dooling Autosport. He's run this track in USF 2000. He's running in a midget as well. We're going to get set to roll things up. The pace car bringing them out of turn number 3 and 4. A couple of pace laps, as Greg had said, Joshua, to get these tires up to temperature. But we're about ready to go racing with Alessandro Di Tullio and Frankie Mossman on the front row.
Of course, with this track being less than 1 mile in length, they will take 2 pace laps. So 1 to green, just called by the race director here as they follow that Corvette pace car. Interesting to note here, Rob, we're going to watch this for the opening couple of laps. How is the draft going to develop? Will it be like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway where we see a lot of single car action and then some diving passes into the corner? Or will it be more like Daytona or Talladega in stock cars where everybody's 2-3 wide for all of the race?
Yeah, no, I would expect we're going to see guys in the high line, as Greg had said. That's normally what we see on this racetrack, guys up top. If you go to the bottom and make the overtake, but we will see some side-by-side racing. Field getting set to go again. Di Tullio on the inside, Mossman on the outside, coming onto the front straight, and we're underway. Green, 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 racing into turn number 1 for a doubleheader here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Di Tullio gets a good lead coming down the back straightaway. A couple drivers too wide. Big run further back for Nikita Lastishkin. He'll go down to the bottom of the racetrack. Look at this dive to the bottom for Matt Clark. Thinking about making it 3 wide. Matt Clark to the very bottom, and it's Mossman up top to take control of P2. Second lap in the books here as we're underway for what will be a 20-minute race. You see the 71 of Papa Sabas on the top side. Lastashkin dropping back into 4th. Clark in the 6th position, I believe. And actually Clark in 5th and 6th with Brabham. And then Benjamin Peterson, the only driver they're not in that fast 6 qualifying now, starting to get up to fight these leaders.
You can see how they were 2-3 wide at the beginning of this race. Very, very quick lap times. Everybody running about 20 seconds on that last time by, which means we will see a substantial amount of laps through this opening race. 20 minutes are on the clock. So remember, when you see that clock hit less than 20 seconds left, they will be taking the white flag that time by. But we still have a lot of time left until we get there. We take a look at this side-by-side battle between Lastotchkin and Clark as they continue to go side-by-side in front of the Andretti Racing number 83 of Matt Brabham. And here comes Brabham to the outside of Lastotchkin to try and move himself into this battle. That's exactly what he is going to do, inserting himself on the outside line.
Yeah, we talked about this before. Nikita Lasser is getting pushed to the bottom of the race. You see a little loose there, trying to get a lot of wheel into it, and that's going to allow Benjamin Peterson to slide through as well. And from behind him, Victor Anderson, the young Swede for Velocity Racing Development, VRD. He's announced today with the USF 2000 team. Let's pick up Josh Green, who's first back at the 33, battling out with Dean Gibdall on the WKA machine. There's the turn 3 driver, Josh Green, currently running in that 12th position. He's right behind Titus Sherlock, who's coming off a win at the Lucas Oil School of Racing Winter Series this past week. Was able to get a victory there in the doubleheader of that 4-race series. He's to the top side. A lot of racing further back here. Josh Green. You mentioned 2x2, Joshua. We're getting it right now. Sherlock to the top and Anderson to the bottom.
You can see how they're holding that 2 wide as well. Doesn't really seem like any lane is really preferred right now. Just whatever lane's going to work as the 3 of Green moved to the inside of the 55 and Noah Ping. But Noah Ping wanted to go to the inside of the driver in front of him and try and make a pass on them. Everybody trying to figure out what lines are working and how exactly they're working as Lastotchkin goes to the outside of Jonathan Brown. We're taking a focus on the turn 3 motorsport driver from Ireland. He's going to fall in right behind Nikita Lastotchkin and right in front of the American Titus Sherlock, who is now behind him. But look at Sherlock having a battle now with Victor Anderson as he moves to the inside 2x2 again.
Good job for Anderson holding that bottom of the racetrack. You can see him get a little bit higher coming up. And there goes Brown now down to the inside, having a look at Lastotchkin as well. From Nikita falling back a little bit to the 7th position. Sherlock getting a big run. And we saw how good Sherlock was at Virginia International Raceway. Had a couple of incidents that did not give him the results I think he probably would have wanted. Was running up front with Alessandro Di Tullio and Matt Clark, but got into the back of Clark in turn number 3, and that required a drive-through penalty. Here's Jonathan Brown now going to work at Nikita Lastotchkin. Look at them run the top side. If you've ever tried to run iRacing here at Lucas Oil Raceway, it is a tough place to go quick. You've got to run around the top. And Joshua, I'm sure you can attest, it takes a lot mentally to be able to run up top. Greg DeGeorge has talked about it in the piece of the race. It's almost like claustrophobia. You're going to get maybe a bit dizzy running the top side like that, but it really tests these drivers in their mental fortitude.
Especially the drivers running to the inside, you need to have perfect control over that car, because if you understeer, you're going into the wall. If you oversteer, you're going into the car under you. So it's very, very difficult. And it looks like the 7 of Yeo Lee is down the inside line with a bit of damage to that number 7. We'll see if we can pick up what exactly happened to the South Korean. But here's another heads-up battle. The 26 of Matt Clark on the outside. Into the inside, Benjamin Peterson. Canadian versus American fight as there goes Yeo Lee in the 7. Down to the inside and into the pit lane. Looks like they're going to have to grab one of their fast repairs as we go into just about over 4 minutes gone in this race. And we're ticking off these laps very, very quickly here, Rob. This is going to be a long race for these drivers.
Have a look at a replay we've had here. There was an incident between Chase Gardner and Christian Weir. We're going to pick that up here momentarily to find out what happened there between the drivers that got connected there. So indeed, trouble a little further back in the pack. We weren't able to get to see that. But yeah, contact between Gardner and Weir. Let's come back on here with Mackenzie Clark. Matt Clark from Canada doing a pretty good job. Benjamin Peterson all over him. He's got that American flag. Lives in Seattle, Washington. Actually born in Denmark. But he's been over here since he was 4 years of age. And a bunch of racing overseas in British Formula 3. Did the F4 program here as well. Indy Lights last year was really, Joshua, one of the most consistent, most impressive drivers over the second half of the season. I rate Benjamin very highly. I think he's going to be very strong in the Indy Lights series this year, potentially trying to get that championship that would give him that scholarship to move up to the NTT IndyCar series. But I like this right now. You got 2 drivers, one trying to get into the USF Juniors, one trying to get into IndyCar. This is what this eSeries is all about, blending all this road to Indy talent together.
And look at the battle they're having on this track as well, as Mackenzie Clark almost bends it into the outside wall, keeps it off of it. We stay green, and he's able to stay to the tail end of the top 5. but Benjamin Peterson trying to catch up. How about this group further back here? They're in a good battle as well. It's the two of Jonathan Brown going up against Titus Sherlock. Turn 3 Autosport driver in Jonathan Brown. And Titus Sherlock, of course, is his allegiance with Elite Esports, another group of drivers. Titus Sherlock in USF Juniors and Jonathan Brown in Indy Pro 2000, meeting up here in the virtual space behind the wheel of these Indy Pro 2000 cars. But it looks like both of them very, very used to the virtual space as they run 8th and 9th currently on the racetrack. Yes, it's about mid-pack, but still some great racing going on through here as we go through the sort of awkward middle portion of the race, Rob. No cautions, no pit stops really on the horizon. Everybody's trying to figure out their cars and see which drivers they can make moves on ahead of them.
Let's bring Greg Jorgensen here from the Symmetric Driver Performance Labs. Greg, we talked about this. Now you're midway through. These guys, as Joshua said, they've banged a bunch of laps off already. We've got 7 minutes in the books, 7 minutes of complete focus. Great battle here between Jonathan Brown and Titus Sherlock. What's the setup going to be like? How are these cars potentially going to go off over a 20-minute race?
Yeah, like you said, I did a bunch of driving myself on iRacing here this week to kind of develop the setup, see how the car kind of feels over the length of the race. Grip seems to go in a pretty neutral fashion, so the general feel of the car stays the same. The grip levels do drop off a little bit, but the car doesn't tend to get too loose or too tight or anything like that over the course of the race. I'm really glad to see how we're doing the racing so far. This is as clean as any of the real races we get to see when we get to go to Lucas Oil Raceway.
I'll tell you, Velocity Racing Development owner Dan Mitchell will be watching this right now. Here's 2 of his guys going at it here right now in those VRD green machines. Victor Anderson out of Sweden, again, we said, just announced today, officially joining the team for USF 2000. He's battling it out right now with Noah King, who was very impressive at Virginia International Raceway in the RTI Prospects race last week. I'm actually going to have a chance to talk with Noah King tomorrow for a Road to Indy Insider podcast. Again, he'll be in USF 2000, so a couple of VRD drivers running nose to tail, and that is 10 and 11. And they're actually getting chased down a little bit here as well. Behind them, Josh Green's trying to get into the fight as well. But again, back to this battle, Joshua, between Jonathan Brown and Titus Sherlock. Sherlock does not let up on the pressure at all, and give it up to Brown, a guy with tons of experience and success in Formula Ford racing. He's used to close quarters, drafting competition. You know he's not faltering at all.
Doesn't seem like at all, but take a look at the move to the bottom for Titus Sherlock. Here he saw the opportunity going down into turn number 1, trying to go to the bottom of the racetrack. Is it going to work for him? No, it's not. So it looks like as we go into the middle portion of this race, the outside line is starting to show to be the preferred passing line. Problem with that is, Rob, everybody prefers the outside line here at IRP. It's very, very hard pressed to find a driver that prefers running down on the inside line. So it's going to be very, very difficult for some of these drivers to make passes. Here's Billy Frazier for Exclusive Autosport out of New Zealand, trying to work his way past Trey Burke, who sits currently in P15, but the New Zealander with no prevail on that top 15 spot just yet.
A couple of drivers who have had some trouble on the racetrack. Colin Kaminsky out already. He'll be back in race number 2. We mentioned Christian Weir getting together with Chase Gardner. Dylan Christie having some issues as well, as did Jason Scribble. Let's go back up and talk about the guy we haven't talked about for the first half of this race, because he's out front by himself. Alessandro Vitulio, young American driver out of Florida, has had the chance to do some F4 driving. Doesn't really have the budget right now, I think, to be able to make a move. Running with Parolin USA in pole position Motorsports, had a really good chance to see this driver run at the Supercars USA Winter Series at Homestead in the first week of January. Put a dominant show both days. Actually lost after winning on track, lost the first day because of an issue in tech with the engine. Came back the next day, got redemption, and scored the victory. We're back there again in the first week of February. You know he's going to be trying to sweep things to get that championship. But Vitulio has been so impressive here in the virtual space. Love what he was able to do at VIR, and be able to do it here on the challenging oval at Lucas Oil Raceway. What a run. Same goes for Ivagoras Papasavas for Jay Howard Driver Development. A lot of testing being done, already announced to being in USF 2000 this year. Again, I'm super excited to see what he can do. And for me, Joshua, to see what he's doing here in iRacing, this bodes really well for what Ivagoras is going to be able to do when we get on track at St. Petersburg at the end of February.
And that's kind of how it's going for a lot of these drivers that are here in the virtual space and this series as well, running against other drivers that are in Indy Lights, running against other drivers that are in Indy Pro 2000, USF 2000, just any sort of part of the Road to Indy ladder. everybody is able to race against each other in the virtual space. A great opportunity for other drivers to see who's on the up and coming, and a great opportunity for some race teams as well. We talked about it at the end of the broadcast 1 week ago, how team owners can take this virtual series and see which drivers have the talent in the virtual space to try and make their way through the real life world and get their way into the IndyCar series.
Yeah, and I think one of the keys about it is not so much outright pace. You're looking at a driver out here, again, we're iRacing here, and it doesn't transition completely to driving, a real race car outdoors, but racecraft is something that does transition to be able to stay out of trouble. We're seeing this has been an amazing run so far. We're 11 and a half minutes in. These drivers are doing a tremendous job here right now. You saw close quarters racing. That's what these team owners are going to like to see. Look at this battle here. Jonathan Brown still holding that spot. They're trying to roll up here now on, I believe, Nikita Lastishkin. So, yeah, that is actually 7th, 8th, and 9th. Lastishkin and Brown and Sherlock. So you've got an Indy Lights racer. You've got an Indy Pro 2000 rookie. You got a driver looking to go into the USF Juniors program here in 2022. Great cross-section of the road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires, and each one of them showing great racecraft thus far.
They're all running very, very close together on the racetrack, and Lastopkin still leading this group in P7. And you have that battle between Brown and Sherlock that basically since the drop of the green flag, they have not separated from each other as they continue to race now across the line again. Now underneath 8 minutes to go. This is going to be an exciting run to the finish as here comes the 13 back to the bottom of the racetrack, and we grab a look at a replay of an incident between Burke and Dibdahl, and oh my, car right in the middle of the track. Doesn't look like anywhere for the 21 of Dean Dibdahl to go.
Yeah, Dibdahl got sideways. I think looked to be like Burke just center punched him, kind of T-boned him there. That happens on the racetrack, man. When you get sideways, there's not a lot of place to go. One of the things about this track is the car is always on edge. You always have that G-load pushing to the outside, so there's not much you can do when the driver's in front of you. There's really nowhere to go. You unwind the wheel to go to the top, and it goes there real quick. You try to pinch it down, the car's going to start to rotate. On the straightaway, it's so quick and rolling out there when something happens in front of you like you saw in that replay. There's literally nothing you can do. But Dean Dibdahl's out of this one, as is Leo Lee, Dylan Christie, Christian Weir, and Colin Kaminsky. So 5 drivers out of the race. It looks like Trey Burke about 5 laps down, having to get rolling again. But to get back on board with Titus Sherlock, we have watched this race throughout the first 13 and a half minutes. He has not wavered on the pressure. The driver's in the wall up top. That might be Matt Clark. Matt Clark in the wall. Joshua Thomas, turn number 3. So the driver is running in the top 5, making contact. He'll fall down the order.
Not only will he fall down the order, Rob, he had to tow it back into the pit lane, so that's going to put the 26 machine of Mac Clark all the way down into P16 on the racetrack as Titus Sherlock able to make a move on Benjamin Peterson. Looks like the 24 machine might be having some issues as well. He has fallen like a rock down the order. Down to P8 for the number 24, and they might lose one more to the 55 of Noah Ping, who is now all over his back wing. And take a look at this battle once more as they work their way through turns 3 and 4, racing their way now back to 1 and 2. Word from the race director, penalty for the 24 of Benjamin Peterson, fault for an incident on the racetrack.
Yeah, so look, I'm just going to throw this out there. Potentially, it was Peterson getting together with Matt Clark. Both those drivers are running up front there in the top 5, so we may have saw some contact between those 2 drivers. Benjamin Peterson getting that drive-through penalty. We saw a number of those calls at VIR at the RTI Prospects race. And that's one of the things that separates everything here with this TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries. We approach it like it's one of our series. Our race director is the race director for the Indy Pro 2000 category. Johnny Unser is the race director this evening, along with Ryan Cobb. So we're literally doing, using the same rules and regulations we would with our driving etiquette in the Road to Indy as we are here in the eSeries. You make a mistake like that, you're coming into pit lane, and that's it for Benjamin Peterson. He comes in and will fall down the order, as we say. Let's go back to the battle right now between Noah Ping and Victor Anderson. Anderson in the number 30, his teammate at VRD in different series, mind you. In the 55, Noah Ping. They've worked their way up now to 8th and 9th with the departure of Clark and, of course, the penalty to Peterson. So both those VRD drivers now, Joshua, into the top 10.
You can grab a quick onboard there of the Mac Clark and Peterson incident as We get a focus on Victor Anderson now, who runs in P number 9, the Velocity Racing Development driver from Sweden. He's going to work his way past the number 24 as well. As after that black flag, Peterson now 1 lap down versus your race leaders. 4 minutes to go. Alessandro Di Tullio, what a run for him. Another fantastic run. Very, very used to seeing Di Tullio running up front. But how about Frank Mossman, Rob, running in second place? Exactly where he started this race as well. It has been Di Tullio and Mossman up front, with Di Tullio pulling away by multiple seconds as the Brown and Sherlock battle is going to continue as they go out of turn number 2. Brown able to hold on to that spot, but Sherlock, we know how aggressive he's been in this race, Rob. He's trying to get that 6th spot away.
Yeah, good fight here, as we said, for 6th and 7th between Brown and Sherlock. And again, great kudos out to Alessandro Di Tullio and Frankie Mossman, a couple of young kart racers who worked their way through here through that RTI Prospects race. Mossman, this bodes really well. Let's watch this now. Sherlock's going to go to the bottom of the racetrack. Titus Sherlock to the bottom, trying to make it happen here with 3 minutes to go. Can he hold it? He'll have to get that run down the straightaway. Tucked back in behind. He does not go to the bottom again. We thought we were going to see it, but Sherlock not able to hold the bottom. You've got to get up halfway coming down the straightaway. If you lose that, you're not going to be able to run it. He's thinking about the slide job here, trying to go through to the bottom, rolling back onto the corner. Sherlock doing a great job here on the bottom side of the racetrack. Better. You got to get closer. He'll stay to the bottom of the racetrack, thinking about trying to get back up top. Got to get forward, right down to the corner. That car will get loose midway through the corner when you're putting so much lock into it. Does Sherlock try it back to the inside of 3 and 4? No. Goes to the top side a little bit this time. Joshua, 2.5 minutes remaining, and Sherlock starting to roll the dice here to move to try to get himself into 6th.
Something has got to give in this battle for the 6th spot. Is Sherlock just going to try and dive into the inside of one of these corners? I think it's the only opportunity he might have, Rob. He can go all the way down to that grass that you see at the bottom of the racetrack in turn 4. He has all of that real estate to play with. Could we see a good old-fashioned dirt track slide job come in from the elite esports driver to try and get that 6th spot? How badly does he want it?
Well, this is the thing for Titus Sherlock. In his mind, he should be trying to get experience racing against these guys he could be racing against in the years to come. You don't want to make a mistake here. You don't want to throw it out. Yeah, you'd love to be able to get 6th. This isn't for a race win. This is for P6. They've actually got some lap cars they're working on here right now, too. So that may be a key, getting a run out of the corner as they're trying, I think, slide by Chase Gardner potentially there. You can see they're working their way up in a more slow cars. And this is something we see here at Indianapolis Raceway Park on a regular basis. Lap cars play such a role because if they're running the top side, the guys behind are going to have to go to the bottom, and as soon as you start doing that, it opens things up. We got just over a minute remaining. They're trying to roll by now that number, I believe, that's the car I'm looking at, the wrong number. I think that's Billy Fraser they're going by on the inside. So the inside of Fraser, good job there for Brown. Sherlock not able to capitalize. 1 minute remaining, probably somewhere around 5 laps to go.
Let's see what is going to happen in this battle for 6th. Of course, Titus Sherlock, a USF Juniors driver. Jonathan Brown, a driver for Indy Pro 2000. I believe somewhere close to about 2 to 3 laps to go at this point, as we get another look at the Jay Howard development driver of Evagoras Papasavas. And then number 71 at the tail end of the podium as well in P3. There is your current race leader, Alessandro Di Tullio. And this time by Rob, it's going to be white flag and one final lap in race number 1 for the 20.
Yeah, Di Tullio running those parallel in red, white, and black colors, the top karting manufacturer in North American and international karting. And Di Tullio's getting the job done. As we said, it'll be the final lap. He'll work his way down the back straightaway. What a performance it's been here on challenging conditions running at Lucas Oil Raceway. IRP out of turn number 3, out of turn number 4. He'll win once again, his second win here on the TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries. Alessandro Di Tullio getting the victory at the line. Frank Mossman coming home in second. Good debut for Mossman here, and we hope to see him at the Freedom 75 in May. Evagoras Papasavas for Jay Howard Driver Development. Matthew Brabham coming home 4th. Nikita Lashtushkin in 5th. Great run for Jonathan Brown to 6th. A race-long battle between he and Titus Sherlock. A ton of fun to watch. Everybody cruising through here, folks. Don't go anywhere. When we come back from this quick break, we'll try to have a quick word with the race winner.
An important decision is afoot. This man is about to buy tires on TireRack.com. Tire Rack is the leading online retailer of tires in North America and a repository of advice and expert reviews. And it's done! All that's left is to arrange for safe, easy installation at one of our independent recommended installers. Well, I guess he did that too. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Well, that was a fantastic event. Green to checker for the drivers here in this TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries. And we did this at VIR for the RTI Prospects race. We're going to have a chance to talk with the race winner, Alessandro Di Tullio. It's been a pretty good January so far, Alessandro. You win at the SCUSA Winter Series. You win at the RTI Prospects race at VIR. You show you can get it done on the oval as well. It looked like you had things handled. Was it that easy from the cockpit as well?
Hey guys, honestly, I didn't have much confidence going into this race. I thought it was going to be, I mean, it's still difficult, but I thought I was going to be like having to chase people. I'm not really familiar with the ovals, but yeah, I think I adapted quite well and it's fitting me for now.
Overall, are you happy? Obviously, you had to get through some of the lap traffic. Did they give you enough room?
Yeah, the lap traffic honestly was managed quite well. All the drivers were they were very aware of me coming through, so yeah, thanks to them.
You're obviously a little nervous coming in. How do you feel about starting back in 10th position? We invert the top 10, so you'll be back there on the outside of row number 5 for the start of this one. Any thoughts before you get back in the race car?
I'm gonna try to be patient on the start. I know it's probably gonna be a bit hectic, especially because it's the second race. So I think I'm just gonna try to get a clean start and then go from there. It's gonna be hard to pass.
Yeah,
but hopefully a top 5.
Good man. Get back in the car. You can jump up out of the car on the track right now. A number of guys are getting some hot laps in. Folks, race number 2 coming up. We'll be able to set the lineup for you. Don't go anywhere. All live here on Rev TV.
An important decision is afoot. This man is about to buy tires on TireRack.com. Tire Rack is the leading online retailer of tires in North America and a repository of advice and expert reviews. And it's done! All that's left is to arrange for safe, easy installation at one of our independent recommended installers. Well, I guess he did that too. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Rickmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Rickmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, rickmotech.com.
Welcome back to live coverage of the TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries here at Lucas Oil Raceway, or as we will call it throughout the 2022 season and beyond, Indianapolis Raceway Park. Joshua Lee, man, pretty impressive to put these drivers, 22 of them, on a very tight 5/8 mile oval, and they'd be able to go at it. All in all, I think it was a fantastic start. Let's have a look at the grid. I think they're bringing it up for us here right now. These are the results of the first race. Alessandro Di Tullio with the win. Frank Mossman second. Evagoras Papasavas in third. Matt Brabham and Nikita Laskishin rounding out the top 5. But Joshua, I was really impressed. Some really good racing, a lot of racecraft, and to be honest, a lot of respect shown between the drivers out there.
And we're going to invert the top 10, of course, as well. So Josh Green is going to be walking away with the pole position here for race number 2. Rob, we're ready for that grid, and that top 10 invert, we saw how much it influenced the race at Virginia. Let's see how much it influenced tonight's race here at IRP.
As Joshua said, Josh Green for Turn 3 Motorsports starting on the pole position. That'll put Victor Anderson after that great battle with his teammate Noah Ping. Anderson on the outside of row number 1. Row 2 will indeed have Ping on the inside in that Green Velocity Racing Development Machine. Outside, Titus Sherlock, who battled with Jonathan Brown all race long. Sherlock starting on the outside of row number 2.
Jonathan Brown and Nikita Listachkin are going to share that third row. Matt Brabham and Evagoras Papasavas, two very, very fast drivers in race number 1. Let's see if they can continue that momentum here in race 2 as they start on row 4.
Well, they were P2 and P1 respectively in the first race of the doubleheader. Let's see what they do from row 5. Frank Mossman will start on the outside in the number 77, or the inside rather, in the number 77. Race winner Alessandro De Tullio will start on the outside rather of row number 5. That'll be P10. And then row number 6 sees Connor Gutting starting 11th in the number 10. And Billy Fraser worked his way up from deep in the field. A 12th place run for Fraser puts him on the outside of row 6.
As the Corvette pace car rolls off, Benjamin Peterson, he had a black flag that put him down to P13 in race number 1. Elliot Cox will start to the outside of that 7th row. Chase Gardner and Mackenzie Clark, the winner of race number 2 from Virginia 1 week ago, will start to the outside of that 8th row. Rob, let's take a look at the rest of the grid as we get ready to go green.
Indeed, Jason Pribble and Trey Burke will be on row number 9. Dean Dibdahl and Yoru Lee on row 10. Dylan Christie and Christian Weir on row 11, and Colin McKaminsky is going to have to start from the tail of the field in 23rd. Greg DeGeorgis, what do you think here as a driver coach? What do you tell your young steeds when they're heading out for another race, having just turned in a really good effort?
Yeah, that was a fantastic race. I think that first race was definitely pretty clean. Let's hope that they have the same attitude for this second race and it doesn't get any messier than we saw the first time.
Yeah, obviously a different mindset every time, right? Hey, I didn't get what I wanted the first race. I can change it here. We'll wrap things up if I have to. Well, I'd like to see some of these guys coming to the back, and I want to see this amazing respect and racecraft that we saw in the opening race continue. Josh Green starting on the front row alongside a driver who will look to make his first road to Indy start at St. Petersburg in USF 2000 in late February. Green coming into his 3rd year in the season. He's getting ready to punch off. Green won last year the finale at Mid-Ohio in USF 2000. Let's see if he's able to take advantage of his pole position. We're getting things underway. Drivers on the loud pedal. Green, green, green. And we'll race our way into turn number 1. Josh Green using that top side. Gets about 3 car lengths coming out of turn number 2. Big run for Titus Sherlock. He already works his way into 3rd rather. Right up on the gearbox now of Anderson. Noah Ping midway through the corner as well. He's keeping it down to the bottom. Otherwise, opening lap going in the books. Joshua, pretty good start there for Josh Green.
What a start, and there's a car into the catch fence as they go into turn 1. Benjamin Peterson's going to get turned as well. We have a full course caution on the racetrack, and it looks like Brown involved. Matt Brabham might have gotten damaged there as well. Connor Gutting looks like he was also involved in the incident in turn number 1. We'll see all the drivers involved when we grab a look at the replay, but Rob, incident already, so we're less than a minute gone in this race.
Just coming down the straightaway, front straightaway to start lap number 2, and a couple of drivers who really starred in the opening race having trouble. Again, you mentioned Jonathan Brown, Frankie Mossman, Benjamin Peterson, all those drivers out, and that's tough because you want to get the points, accrue the points here to try to win this championship overall for the RTI Pro Series drivers. Josh Green getting a really good start, as we said, but yeah, ends up being contact there coming into turn number 1. All I saw, I was passing off to you, Joshua, looked over and there were cars airborne. Not really sure what happened there, but I did see the blue and white machine. Matthew Brabham involved, and just, man, said, that's tough after having a really good run to the top 5.
And we'll hopefully grab a look at the replay of that incident, but what a start for Josh Green as well. We need to talk about the 3 machine at the front of this pack. A great run to start the night for Green here in race number 2. Same thing with Victor Anderson. 2 names that we did not hear about in race number 1 nearly at all, and they did an amazing job on that start to stay 1st and 2nd. And we'll grab a look now at that replay of the incident in turn number 1. Looked like about 3 cars involved, and there was more on the front straightaway. Looks like multiple drivers turned around, and there goes the 10 at Connor Gutting into the air.
Yeah, I think it was Brown. I think Brown lost the rear coming out of turn number 4. You saw him slide back across the racetrack. He was all the way down to the bottom of the track, and then when the car overcorrected, came right back across from driver's left to driver's right, and that's when he got into Connor Gutting and sent him up into the air. Brabham kind of came through as well. And that happens. And Greg DeGeorgis, we got time, and I think here, I don't know if we're going to green yet, but Greg, talk about these cars when the tires are cold, right? They were not brought up to temperature as of yet.
Yeah, exactly. Just like you said, it's really, and I said at the keys to the race, it's really important that they keep their tires warm. It looks like we're about to go green here.
Yeah, indeed. And that was probably just that. Brown trying to get on it early, coming out of turn number 4, lost the rear end, kind of collateral damage further back, the accordion effect. We are back to green flag racing. We have to take care of these tires in the opening couple of laps. Titus Sherlock's been able to get by Victor Anderson. Anderson back to the bottom. We saw a lot of this. Hard to make the car stick, especially with cold tires right now. Anderson holding on to the spot. Titus Sherlock up into second. Anderson runs third. And this has allowed Josh Green to pull away to a nice little advantage, probably about 6 or 7 car lengths coming down the back straightaway here at IRP. You see Anderson slotting in. And what a debut for Anderson so far. He'll look to the bottom here, trying to get that run out of the corner, side by side with Sherlock. A little bit of contact. Sherlock keeps it off the wall. Further back, the battle between Papa Savas and Lastushkin side by side. Papa Savas has got the high side. Hey, Joshua, what do we say? Let's go racing in race number 2. These guys got the elbows up.
We were talking under the break about not jinxing race number 2 by saying race number 1 was clean, and we already saw one full course yellow. We might see multiple as we will go north of 4 minutes gone in this race, but Lastashkin now falling off of the battle with Papa Savas. Papa Savas is actually going to go up and try and fight Noah Ping now in the number 55, but Titus Sherlock up 2 spots from where he started, P number 4 in race number 2. Can he challenge for the race lead? Same exact story, just a different race, Rob. The race leader, it's not Alessandro Di Tullio, it's Josh Green, but he's pulling away by multiple seconds now on the racetrack.
And we've said this before about USF 2000 and Indy Pro 2000 here at IRP Indianapolis Raceway Park. Qualifying is so key, right? It is a track position race. If you start 15th or 12th, you're not going to win the race. It's just too tough to work your way forward. But that said, that's why we're seeing a guy like Josh Green up front. Titus Sherlock's worked his way forward. My guy to watch right now is Alessandro Di Tullio. Can he get himself forward? We saw that he was able to win and pull away as the leader with no trouble. But here's Di Tullio right now trying to go to work on Nikita Lastushkin. Can he find a way by? Is he that much better here in the iRacing service to be able to get it done? You can see the pole position Motorsports logo in the front. He'll go to the bottom again. And Papa Sabasto coming across the bow of Lastushkin from right to left. Papa Savas early here, 5 minutes in, just a quarter distance of this 20-lap race, and trying to run that middle line. I don't know if it's the best place to go to burn the tires up a little bit. Top line always a bit better. Papa Savas almost on the defensive already, but Lastushkin rolls it deeply into turn number 3. Those drivers both closing up as well on Noah Ping as the front 3 stretching out a little bit. Josh Green, your leader. Sherlock second. Anderson third, but here goes Di Tullio to the bottom. Contact between he and Lastushkin. They made contact coming out of turn number 2. Let's see if there's any potential damage. I don't see Lastushkin. I got to think Joshua, he may have ended up in the wall.
It might have looked like that, but another driver goes around. That was Lastushkin again. Can't help but think we might have seen a possibility of a good bit of damage there for Lastushkin. Here's the replay of the contact between him and Di Tullio. There goes Alessandro to the bottom. There is, Lastushkin actually was the one to get loose on the outside and come down into Di Tullio. And then what happened to Lastushkin coming off of turn number 4? Not sure if he got damage that got him loose or just the same sort of loose that he had.
That's Mossman.
And that's Mossman that went around. It looks like Lastushkin might have also gotten some damage or pulled himself into the pit lane there. No, Lastushkin did hit him and go down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Nikita Lastushkin, as you commented on detailed, a high side in turn number 2 with Di Tullio on the outside. The car started to rotate, lost the rear end, lost that rear bite and grip coming off the corner. But coming out of 4, it was Frankie Mossman who lost it coming out of 4, very similar to what we saw out of Jonathan Brown's start. He ended up going around, and again, Lastushkin with absolutely nowhere to go. Frankie Mossman, I think, potentially out of this race now in 21st. Elliott Cox and Colin Kaminsky out already early. It's been a tough one for Colin Kaminsky, getting caught up in a couple here. But we're watching Di Tullio now as he's putting his head down. Di Tullio trying to reel in Ivagor's Papa Savas. So, Joshua, for Di Tullio, you're involved in an incident there, almost pulled it. You can see the car almost rotating, and he's really having to wheel that thing now. He wants to get another win. At least he wants to be on the podium again. Currently running P6, a win already in the books. Ooh. That car looks a little bit sketchy mid-corner.
It looks very, very upset, and this is the challenge now for Di Tullio. Can he take an upset race car and put it into good positions on the racetrack? He needs to get past Evagoras Papasavas, but that's another fast driver. And if Papasavas is having a good race car under him, I don't think Alessandro Tullio is going to be able to get by for the top 5. We go back outside of the top 10. Christian Ware in the number 32 is in a heated battle with Matt Brabham, who sits in front of him in the number 83. And how about Dean Dibdahl also in this battle? He sits tail end of this group, as now to the bottom of the number 91. That is Jason Pribble trying to get by Billy Frazier for the 9th spot. Contact.
Yeah, this is everything you want here at Lucas Oil Raceway. Pribble getting that the right corner of the wing, almost into the left rear of Billy Frazier there, coming out of turn number 4. It's Pribble in the 59. You've got Brabham working the bottom. You've got Peterson up top. What a great fight here. This is 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. You've got Fraser, Pribble, Brabham, Peterson, and Weir all in there, and Dean Dibdahl right behind them as well. We got 2 lanes of racing. You can see Brabham really going to work, finally able to get that pass done on Peterson and give it up for the veteran there, who is Matthew Brabham. Didn't pressure it, stayed consistent, had the patience to run the inside, and now has taken that spot. It took a bunch of laps. He goes now down to the bottom. I'll tell you this, I go back to a race, and I want to say it might have been 2012, and it was Spencer Piggott and Matthew Brabham side by side for about 25 laps in the Freedom 75. And I want to say that Piggott was on the inside, Brabham was on the outside. This time it's turn for Brabham to run that low line. But he is looking really good trying to get to the inside of Pribble. And you see Weir now to the top side of Peterson. Christian Weir for turn 3 Motorsport. He'll take that position as well.
The side-by-side continues, and the inside line just does not seem to do anything for these drivers. We saw DeTullio try and make the move to the inside, and they get sort of even side-by-side, or maybe even a little bit quicker by the mid-corner, but once you get on exit, that run the outside line gets is just too good. As the 83 of Brabham goes back to the bottom, he thought about making it 3 wide there about a lap ago, did not do it. Benjamin Peterson almost makes a touch to the wall behind, as it looks like Noah Ping has just lost 2 spots on the time tower. He's down into P6 and trying to protect the inside line from the 83, goes to 59 of Pribble.
Well, what I like there, that was Brabham taking full advantage of Pribble. Jason Pribble was trying the bottom of the racetrack to get around Billy Fraser. Not able to get it, had to hold on to the throttle a little bit, couldn't get rolling back on early enough. Brabham got the big run, almost an over-under, an oval racing over-under. Got a better run on the straightaway, and when Pribble had to get back up top with less forward bite coming out of turn number 3, it was Brabham going down to the bottom. So Matthew Brabham, he and Pribble kind of going back and forth for 9th. We'll go back on board with Titus Sherlock. It's been a great day for Sherlock. Finished, I believe, 6th in that opening round, battling it out with, it might have been 7th actually, battling it out with Jonathan Brown. He now runs in 3rd spot. Make that 2nd, I think, here for Titus Sherlock. As Sherlock's trying to get a good run here. This is the battle for the lead. This is actually the lead right now. Josh Green in the 33, Titus Sherlock. I didn't think the lead was that close. Joshua, what a good run here for Sherlock, putting the pressure on the road to Indy veteran.
We talked about his battle in race number 1, and now that's going to graduate from a battle for around P6 to a battle for P1 on this racetrack. Josh Green, some fantastic performances last week when we went to VIR. Could have had a lot of better finishes in not just race number 1, but also race number 2. So we get word from race control. An incident between the 59 machine of Jason Pribble and the number 32 machine of Christian Ware is now under investigation. What can Titus Sherlock really do here to get around Josh Green for the race lead? Is he willing to be very aggressive for this win and try and make a dive bomb for it? Let's take a look at a replay that happened to the incident that is now under review.
Yeah, we're on board right now with Nikita Lassis, and he'll give us a look at it. Yeah, big contact there for a couple drivers further back. Jason Pribble was involved in that as well. Here's Sherlock thinking about the top. Again, that was the contact we saw. Let's go right back here to the battle. Drive-through penalty getting laid down for the 59 of Jason Pribble, saying it was his responsibility. But we've got ourselves a battle for the race lead. And I'll tell you, we're not done with Victor Anderson. He's coming to watch them as well. It's been an interesting line for Titus Sherlock over the last couple of laps. A lot lower down the racetrack than I would have thought. Normally the drivers will run the top side. Josh Green seems happy to run that same kind of middle groove line as well, instead of running right up to the very top. And look who's back there lurking, ready to take advantage of it. Still a long way to go. 7.5 minutes remaining in this 20-minute race for the drivers here in the Tire Rack Road to Indy eSeries. I'm Rob Howden, joined by Joshua Lee and Greg DeGeorgis here in the Cooper Tire Broadcast Center. Hope you're enjoying yourself today. We say hello to all you viewers on Rev TV, or whether you're watching on the Cooper Tire Facebook page or the Road to Indy TV YouTube channel. Here's the battle again between Trey Burke. He's fighting it out with Mackenzie Clark. Burke to the bottom of the racetrack, and Burke, just a great story. Joshua, a guy that came up through dirt racing, junior sprints, micro sprints, got into some midget racing and some sprint car racing, and said, you know, I want to follow the footsteps of a guy like AJ Foyt. I want to be able to go from dirt racing into, contact between he and Clark, get it back on there. But Burke wanted to get it here to the road Indy, wanted to try to get the Indy car. I'm sure we'll still do some dirt racing, but a very difficult year last year, learning the ins and outs of the USF 2000 program. He'll be back, of course, here in 2022. But I like this battle with Matt Clark right now. This is that fight for sixth, and I think for Trey Burke, he'll enjoy being back in kind of home turf. We're really having a good run right now for P6.
You can see him trying to make that move on Matt Clark up in front of him, and he's right there, right on that back wing, and maybe luckily, maybe unluckily, not like traditional short track stock cars where you have a bumper to be able to make moves with. It is all wings here that are very, very sensitive, very, very delicate, to where you can't really use them to make passes. You gotta use runs, you gotta use slipstream. So that's gonna make it a little bit more challenging for Titus Sherlock, but it also gives Josh Green a big advantage, because he knows that if Titus Sherlock makes contact with him, not only is Josh Green gonna be out of the race, but so is Titus Sherlock.
Yeah, indeed, both these drivers trying to show good patience. We are looking forward, of course, to getting to Indianapolis Raceway Park on the Indianapolis 500 weekend for what will be the Carb Night Classic, the Freedom 75 for USF 2000 and the Freedom 90 for the drivers in the Indy Pro 2000 category. We often run with a lot of the USAC categories as well, the midgets and the Silver Crown cars. They take a much different line, a lot lower on the racetrack, kind of getting down to the apex and then rolling back out of the corner. Trey Burke has been there before, so he understands that line. For these cars here, with the downforce that they have, they can run that high line. There's trouble for Sherlock. He's into the wall and outside of turn number 2. Titus Sherlock, and he gets contacted by Billy Fraser as well. A tumble for Sherlock coming down the back straightaway. That's going to move Victor Anderson up into second. Trouble for Titus Sherlock. There's the fight again for Trey Burke. He keeps scrapping it out, and it's Matthew Bradman come up in there as well. But I'll tell you, we saw this last week at VIR. No luck for Titus Sherlock. Joshua looked like he was lining up for a podium, maybe even a race win. It doesn't happen as he ends up in the barriers on the exit of turn number 2.
And that was very, very slight contact with Victor Anderson as well. The incident now under review between cars 13 and 30. Just so, like you mentioned, so unfortunate for Titus Sherlock. A great run in race number 2, and a podium just got stripped away from him. Let's take a look at the replay of what happened here. It just looked like a small tap of wheels, and that sent the 13 of Titus Sherlock around, a hard hit into the wall. I'm not sure who he made contact with to send him up and into the air, but unfortunate for the 13, and he's not going to be finishing in the top 10 now either. And it has been reviewed. No action is the word from the race officials.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with that. It all looked like side-by-side contact. Both those drivers coming out of turn number 2. The car just intrinsically wants to work its way up the racetrack. Sherlock trying to hold the top side. Victor Anderson on the bottom. All you got to do is do side-by-side contact with those drivers. And of course, when Sherlock went around, it was Billy Fraser who made contact with him and threw him up in the air. Really strong run otherwise for Sherlock. He'll be able to take that to the next event, February the 2nd, when he's back with the RTI Prospect drivers. Let's go back on board with Anderson and whether or not there could be any kind of damage for him. He looks pretty good right now. He has not fallen back at all from our leader, Josh Green, in the Turn 3 Motorsports number 3 rather. So Josh Green doing a pretty solid job out front. Anderson trying to come home with a podium finish. And look who finds his way up into third spot, Alessandro DiTullio, and he's still pushing. We have just over 4 minutes remaining in this race, and we're still at it. So potentially 15 or 16 laps still, and DiTullio trying to go to work to get himself back to the front. It's been a great day so far. Started up front on the pole position, capitalized and leveraged that into a race win in the opening round of this doubleheader at Indianapolis Raceway Park. He's now putting the fight here to the top 3. Joshua, I think we got ourselves a race in our hands. Green, Anderson, and DiTullio, 1, 2, 3.
How much time does DiTullio have And will he be able to make a move for this race win? He's got Victor Anderson in between himself and Josh Green, but Alessandro Di Tullio has gained 7 spots from where he started in 10th. Driver into the wall on the outside. Everybody of the leaders avoid it. But dealing with lapped machines now is Josh Green. Is this going to slow him down, or is it going to speed him up? He's able to get behind the number 63. That's Trey Burke. How is Anderson and Di Tullio going to navigate around this lap machine? Can Di Tullio use it as a pick to get by? No, he can't. Di Tullio stays P3.
Well, I'll tell you, the driver they almost got into was Nikita Lastishkin. He had some trouble with slowing. I think he probably slowed and let them go coming through turn number 4. Big head of steam for Di Tullio, and he had to make evasive maneuvers to get to the inside of the racetrack. Luckily to have no contact there. Green's been lucky so far, as we have less than 2 minutes remaining in this one. Green's got that pretty solid advantage. Di Tullio going to try to go to work here on Victor Anderson. And again, just a minute and a half remaining in this race. They'll work their way down the back straightaway again. Josh Green looking to capitalize and do exactly what Di Tullio did in the opening round, and that was optimize the pole position and score the race win. They'll work their way down the front straightaway here again. Still over a minute remaining in this one, but Anderson, the Swedish driver, will make his debut in USF 2000 this year. Looking pretty good here. His debut in the Road to Indy eSeries, brought to you by TireRack.com. Joshua having a good run here, but getting pressured by one of the best we've seen.
Take a look at this battle for the lead. 3 drivers all fighting for this race win at IRP. About 4 laps remaining. Josh Green trying to hold on. Anderson trying to keep Di Tullio behind. Di Tullio just trying to go forward to get this race win. Take a look at the dive from the 20 to try and get close.
Anderson reeling in Green. Look at that lead, significantly smaller than last time by. We got about 40 seconds to go. And it's Di Tullio going to the bottom of Anderson. Anderson trying to keep his focus forward as he's trying to make a move for the race win. Di Tullio right up on the gearbox, working his way down into turn number 3. Di Tullio down to the bottom. Can he get forward by? He does. Contact between the 2 drivers. Oh, able to hold on. I can't believe the car control for Anderson. This is going to give the race to Josh Green. Contact mid-corner. And I'll tell you, wow, Anderson sideways, full wheel. Di Tullio to the bottom as well. We're, I think, going to see the checkered flag this time by. We'll work our way out of the corner, and indeed 20 minutes will hit the mark. I believe that's the checkered flag for Josh Green. He will take the win here. Di Tullio coming through to second. You wonder whether or not race control may have a look at that, Joshua, because that was mid-corner contact. Looked to be, again, did Di Tullio come up, or did Anderson go down? Here, this could be the checkered flag here. And he might not have got back in time. So there you go. Still, Green with the win. Di Tullio second, Anderson third. What do you think, Josh? If you're the race director there, what do you call that side-by-side contact?
I think it's just a racing incident there, but what a run for everybody in the top 3. Should not take away from Victor Anderson getting a 3rd place, even though he lost 1 spot from where he started, and Josh Green leading from green to checkered. What a run for the 3.
Yeah, big win for Josh Green. He takes the victory. Alessandro Di Tullio second, Victor Anderson third. After this break, folks, come back and join us. We're going to talk to the race winner.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Rickmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Hundreds of name brand parts. Expert support. Rickmotech has you covered. There's only one place to go. rickmotech.com.
Your great-grandma used to tell Uncle Cooper the best stories, like Goldilocks and the Cooper tires. The Coopers are just right. Goldie's no sucker. What a lady. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Welcome back to Lucas Oil Raceway here in the iRacing Virtual Network. My name's Rob Howden, joined by Joshua Lee and Greg DeGeorges here in the Cooper Tire Broadcast Center. And drivers wrapping things up. A little photo op there at the start-finish here at the track located just outside Indianapolis, Indiana. Josh Green with a fantastic victory as he capitalized on a pole position, able to stretch away And hold up, what were race-long challenges, first from Titus Sherlock and then from Victor Anderson and Alessandro Di Tullio, both those drivers doing a really tremendous job to close up late, making things exciting. Contact between both of those drivers coming through turn number 3 and 4, and really great car control for Anderson, getting tapped in the rear. The car easily could have gone around. He was able to control it, brings it back for P3. Evagoras Papasavvas, once again, a top 5. Great run for Evagoras, who will race this year with J. Howard Driver Development. Mackenzie Clark able to wrap up, finishing the 5th position as well. But joining us here in the broadcast booth, Josh Green for Turn 3 Motorsport. Josh, you and I had a chance to talk with the podcast earlier in the week. Well done, my friend. Congratulations. Starting on pole, obviously big. You're able to pull away, but a flawless run for you start to finish.
Yeah, it was a very good run. Obviously, all the cars setup-wise are about the same, and I don't think I had the pace, more or less. Hold on a sec. Okay. Sorry. So I don't think I had the pace, more or less, but just kept my head down and was able to keep ahead. It was really hard with the aero wash to keep up with the cars behind. So yeah, people started catching me and then would fall back and would catch and fall back, and I had a couple people crash. So bit of a lucky break, but no, it was a good race.
It's always good to be lucky to be good, right? Let's not luck can play into it. Let's talk about that aero wash a little bit. Obviously you had to deal with a lot of lap traffic, and it's tough when you're the leader because you do get that aero wash. You could be significantly quicker than them. You get in there and that car just wants to push up. What did you do? I saw you guys were running maybe a little bit lower line than we normally run there when we're at the racetrack.
Yeah, it was a much different line than we would in real life. We were even on the apron some parts of the racetrack, which was definitely odd. But when it came to lap cars, it was just about trying to get them out of the way as quick as possible. When you pick up the aero wash and the cars behind also have aero wash, it makes it very easy to be caught. When you're the 3rd or 4th car on the train, the aero wash is not as bad as someone who's 2nd without a tow. So it definitely was a bit of a struggle, but it obviously got worrying here and there, different parts of the race where other cars were catching me and I was stuck behind a lap car, but everyone seemed to get out of the way, more or less.
A lot of pressure. A lot of pressure throughout the race by Titus Sherlock and Victor Anderson. Did you feel that? Did you know you were right there? Do you have a spotter working with you?
I did. I had my driver coach Richard spotting me, but definitely felt them breathing down my neck. But yeah, no, you feel it. You feel the pressure for sure.
Hey, always good to come in, even on the virtual world here, and get a victory, right?
Oh, of course.
Hey, Josh, congratulations. Look forward to seeing you, of course, outdoors when we go racing in St. Petersburg. We're back here with the Road to Indy Pro Drivers on February the 7th as well at Road America. Looking forward to that one.
Oh, I'm so pumped. Can't wait to get back in the real race car.
Hey, congratulations. Thanks for joining us here in the booth.
Thank you very much.
A lot of guys ready to join us here as well. We've got Alessandro Di Tullio waiting in the wings, Victor Anderson in the wings as well. Let's pass it over to Joshua Lee as he stands by right now with Alessandro Di Tullio.
Well, a fantastic run tonight for Alessandro Di Tullio, and Alessandro looked very similar to your strong runs when it came to the Virginia International Raceway one week ago. Unfortunately, weren't able to get the top spot here in race number 2, but a second place cannot be that bad.
Yeah, after starting P10, I think P2 was definitely more than what I expected. I hoped for a top 5, but yeah, P2 it's pretty good. I think I had the pace to be P1, but yeah, I had to settle for 2nd.
And of course, a lot of battling towards the end of that race, and just a lot of close racing towards the front. And how difficult was it out there on the track to avoid some side-by-side contact and to really make those passes? Because it looked like you were getting runs to the bottom, to the entrance of the corner, but by the time you were out of the corner, the outside line had the run down the straightaway.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a... You had to risk it a bit in order to make a pass here. It's not as easy as a road course or another oval. But yeah, you just had to send it down and then hope not to wash out and hope the guy on the outside doesn't close in too much, which happened on a couple occasions this race. And some contact happened, but nothing major, luckily. But yeah, passing was definitely something very important for this race.
Well, Barber Motorsport Park in just a couple of weeks' time. Is your confidence level similar to where it was for VIR and for IRP?
Yeah, Barber is a good track for me. I really like it. So yeah, I think I'll be strong there. Hopefully, I will.
And we hope to be talking to you again post-race, Alessandro. Congratulations on your 2nd place finish here in race 2 and your win of race number 1 tonight.
Thank you. See you guys.
Great to hear from Alessandro Di Tullio. Once again, Rob, we've been hearing from him a lot here on Rev TV and Apex Racing TV. Great to hear from him once again after race 2.
Yeah, Joshua, I don't think that's what the competitors wanted to hear, right? That he's really good at Barber. He obviously showed with a win at VIR, gets a win here on the Oval, and Alessandro Di Tullio will be very good. Third place runner Victor Anderson joining us in the broadcast booth right now. Victor, let me start by welcoming you to the Road to Indy. You got announced today, officially confirmed, that you'll be racing with Velocity Racing Development in USF 2000. Let's just start with a welcome to the Road to Indy family.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to St. Pete to get the real season started. But yeah, quite good start to the virtual season as well.
You're going to get a chance to race at this track, Lucas Oil Raceway, which we now call Indianapolis Raceway Park, old name for the facility. You're going to be there in the month of May for the Freedom 75. Thinking about you coming in here, you know, you really haven't had a chance to race with us. I was wondering how well you do on the oval. Have you practiced at all? Because, man, you look really good today.
Yeah, some practice, of course. But yeah, I'm from Sweden, you know, so this is not the typical racing we do in Sweden.
Exactly.
So yeah, it was a bit odd. Yeah, but still very fun.
Let's talk about the racing a little bit. You looked very comfortable. You put a ton of pressure on the leaders. Even in the first race, you were very strong. You were putting a lot of pressure and closing up on Josh Green a bit there. Did you have to deal with the same aero wash that he had talked about? I know you didn't hear that, but he had to deal with some aero wash. Is that something you had to deal with trying to reel him in?
Yeah, I mean, of course you gain a bit slipstream on the straights, but yeah, the air wash in the corners are very big. So yeah, it was definitely noticeable, and yeah, it's difficult to pass around here. So yeah, you saw some contacts where I both gained and lost, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with the podium in the end.
Let's talk about that last lap, last corner. Alessandro Di Tullio has put a ton of pressure on you, went to the bottom of the racetrack to try to hold that position. It wasn't quite able to do it. I think he may have came up to you a little bit. You may have been defending a bit. What are your thoughts on that contact in the final corner?
I mean, it's tight racing, but of course I was a bit scared when the car was sideways on an oval. It's not nice, but yeah, I managed to do 2 more laps and finish the race. So yeah, it happens. I mean, yeah, it's easy to happen.
Well, fantastic car control. And although it's not on the outdoor circuit, Victor, this was kind of your debut here to all of us in the Road to Indy family. Congratulations. You showed very well. Look forward to seeing what you can do outdoors.
Yeah, thank you.
Victor Anderson coming home third, folks. There you go. Josh Green, P1, Alessandro Di Tullio in second, Victor Anderson in third, Ivagoras Papasavas in fourth, and Mackenzie Clark rounding out the top 5. Joshua, I'll let you wrap up the top 10.
Dean Dibdahl is going to finish there in P6. Trey Burke will finish P7. Noah Ping, Dylan Christie, and Matt Brabham. A great top 10 that we see there. And some great racers, even though we had only the top 6 finish on the lead lap. Some great battling all through the midfield as well in both race 1 and race 2 tonight.
Yeah, Titus Sherlock, even with the incident, ends up in 11th. Christian Weir in 12th. Jonathan Brown, 13th. Connor Gutting in the 14th spot, Nikita Lastishkin in 15th, Jason Pribble, Yoru Lee, and Billy Fraser 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. All in all, as we said, a strong night, and I think kind of surprising us all a little bit based on the fact that we had such good racing in the first race going essentially green to checker, 1 full course yellow in race number 2. I think we all expected it could be a little bit uglier, but it was not. We saw some tremendous racing for sure. And again, kudos to the guys who were able to get wins. Just some tremendous racing all around. For those of you watching on Rev TV, we hope you enjoyed tonight's TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries event. The IRP Oval never ever lacks action. Kudos again to tonight's winners, Alessandro Di Tullio and Josh Green. If you want to join us for the remainder of our post-race show, head over to Road to Indy TV's YouTube channel. We're lining up more driver interviews, and we'll take the opportunity as well to preview next week's racetrack. Join us back here on Rev TV on Wednesday, February the 2nd for the 3rd round of the TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries presented by Cooper Tires. When our group of talented prospect drivers are back on track to take on Barber Motorsports Park, where they'll all be gunning for the opportunity to fight with this year's Road to Indy drivers. Again, folks, it's been a great weekend here, a great night. I always say weekend because that's what we do racing, but it's been a great day. On behalf of everyone from the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires, Apex Racing TV, and my broadcast partners Joshua Lee and Greg DeGeorgis, this is Rob Howden signing off from Indianapolis Raceway Park. Bye for now.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, These Cooper and Duramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper.
So, we buy shoes online, and socks, and shoe socks, and baby food, dog food, parrot food, gardening tools, art supplies, college classes, scarf, the scarf tube, sleeping bag suit? Yeah. So why not buy tires online? TireRack.com is North America's largest online retailer of tires. Find, buy, then have them shipped to one of our trusted independent installers for safe, easy installation. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. Online, with all that other stuff.
Welcome back to Lucas Oil Raceway, the virtual circuit here in iRacing. My name is Rob Howden, joined by Joshua Lee and Greg DeGeorgis as we wrap things up for a track that is now silent after a fantastic double header here in the TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries. We welcome those of you from Rev TV who have come to join us here on the Road to Indy TV YouTube channel or on the Cooper Tires Facebook page. Guys, all in all, just a tremendous race. It's some fantastic battling. Joshua, I don't think we could ask for much more. The racing all along was just great from start to finish and from front to back. We saw a lot of great battles outside the top 10.
It's the typical racing that we've learned to expect from IRP. It is very, very close together. Bit of a challenge to pass, especially in these Indy Pro 2000s, but once those drivers figured it out, we saw a lot of great side-by-side action and even some three-wide action at points as well. Everybody was very aggressive out on the track tonight.
One more driver joining us here in the Cooper Tire Broadcast Center, and that's the number 63 of Trey Burke. Trey, hey, man, congratulations. Fantastic battle. I know you've raced on these particular circuits before, coming up through the ranks, doing midget racing, whatever it may be. Sometimes it was dirt, may have been pavement as well. But you got yourself into a really good scrap there with Matt Clark, battling your way up in the top 10. First off, congratulations. Overall, do you feel pretty happy with tonight's performance here at this track?
Yeah, it was really good. I guess we'll just start with the first race. We had a really solid pace. I joined in just in time for them to say top 6, get to the grid for the end of qualifying. So had to start at the very back, so I knew I had my work cut out. But I also knew that there would be some guys that were, kind of squirrely, taking each other out. So once everybody kind of got single file after the first few laps, I knew I was gold because that's where we were for sure quicker. And sure enough, as the laps were going, we were picking them off. I think I was up to 14th or 15th, and unfortunately, a lap car didn't know what the brakes were when he wrecked and came down onto the track in front of us. But we did manage, I think, an 18th. So moving on to the second race was much better. Same situation. I knew everybody was going to be trying to get the win, especially, it's the last race of the day. They really want to put it in. But got clean. I had a lot of close calls. I know that I was quicker than Matt Clark for sure, just because I could look at the lap times and I was looking how I'd catch him. I'd try something, I'd fall back, and I'd come back. Unfortunately, this track is really difficult to pass, but thankfully he was really clean about it until, unfortunately, getting collected in a little accident. But, no race is perfect.
We've talked about this racetrack, and we chatted with Josh Green, who ended up winning the race. You guys, obviously, when you're there at IRP, you're going to run the high line all the way around. You come down to the bottom to pass, whatever it may be. You've got to kind of pick up the different nuances of what the tracks are like here on iRacing, right? They're not the same as outdoors. You guys were able to use a lot of the racetrack. Josh even mentioned going down to the apron on occasion. It really is kind of adapting to what the track offers up here on the iRacing network.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I know I was doing stuff and I was smiling as I was doing it, thinking there's no way that this would work in real life. But if iRacing will give it to me, I'll take it, man. I was throwing sliders a time or two in the first race, just, double file, couldn't get it done. But shoot, man, I'll throw it all the way on the inside, and it worked.
I figured you were going to go back and use some of your oval sprint car stuff. I like to hear that. Hey, listen, you've been doing a lot of testing in the off season here. I've been seeing you on social. How are you feeling in the race car? You and the Joe Dueling Autosport crew. You got that first year in the books, right? You got that first year of learning. You come back, everything that you didn't know at the start of last season. Now you've got it, in kind of your vernacular. You get it. How's testing gone, and how do you feel about the 2022 season?
I'm feeling great. I know our testing's been good. We're going back to Sebring on Monday and Tuesday. I know that our big thing, and anybody that looks at results can see this, qualifying has always been my Achilles heel. We can race hard, but we cannot qualify. So I think if we can get that down, which we've been doing a great job. Our entire crew, everybody has just been putting in the work. It's not just me out there. And I think this season should be very, very promising just from the testing we've done.
I like to hear that, Trey. That's fantastic. Of course, we'll see you outdoors at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg at the end of February. But we're back here on the TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries on February the 7th. We'll be at Road America for that one. I know that'll be a good one. We'll see you there.
Yes, sir. I'm pretty sure I'll be there. Thank you.
I like to hear it. Spring training coming for these drivers as well. Joshua Lee, they're looking forward to trying to get back out and go racing, but this is a lot of fun bringing all these drivers together. And we said it at the very start of the broadcast, right? The wide spectrum of drivers, our top 10 from the RTI's prospect drivers coming in to race against our existing and, returning Road to Indy racers and USF 2000, Indy Pro, and even Indy Lights to have Matthew Brabham and Benjamin Peterson running. Just a great opportunity for all these young drivers. And to me, I look at this as a huge takeaway, a huge positive, just the way they all performed tonight.
And I said it earlier as well, team owners can use this to see, hey, I want that driver in my Indy Lights car. If they're racing like this in the virtual world, what can they do in the real world? That is exactly the platform that iRacing has built. That is exactly the reason so many real-life racers are attracted to the iRacing service. It is exactly what they'll be experiencing in the real world. They can take what they learn in the sim and put it towards the real-world action. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with the remainder of the campaign as we continue to swap between prospects and real-life Indy Lights drivers joining them as well.
Well, let's talk about that next race. We take a week off. We're actually back on February the 2nd when we get back going once again here. The RTI Prospects will head to Barber Motorsports Park, the track that opened back in 2003, referred to as the Augusta National of Motorsports. George Barber did an amazing job with this facility. It is like going to Augusta for the Masters. Grass is always perfect. Just such a beautiful facility. 2.366 miles in length. 16 corners, has hosted actually Road to Indy events, Joshua, since 2014. And you go back to that first year, R.C. Enerson, who was going to go for the Indy 500 this year with Top Gun Racing, also his family owns Lucas Oil School of Racing. He won both of the races back in 2014. Really looking forward to that one. It is a fantastic track for sure. But again, that racetrack, I'm sure you've driven it in iRacing, Joshua. It is up and down. The elevation changes are crazy. Coming through turn 2 and 3, the Alabama roller coaster. This is a racetrack that will challenge the drivers in every way possible.
Easily as a driver's racetrack, and it seems to have one of everything. It's got fast corners, it's got slalom chicanes, it's got slow speed corners, it's got hairpins, it's got anything you want, elevation changes, you name it, Barber Motorsports Park has it. It's going to be a big challenge for these drivers. Question is, who is going to be able to dominate, and will we see similar drivers up front that we saw at Virginia?
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I think we will. We already heard from Alessandro DiTullio. He said he really likes it there, so that does not bode well for the rest of the crew. Let's bring in Greg DeGeorgis for final thoughts. Greg, I think you and I talked before the broadcast. What's it going to be like? We're going to Lucas Oil Raceway. It's a bull ring. It's, 5/8 of a mile. Trey Burke talked about it. You go to the bottom, you throw a slider. If it's not good, you take a guy out. All in all, I think we'll look back at tonight's action and say, wow, the Road to Indy drivers showed us why they are the best in the business.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of these guys who, especially on the Road to Indy drivers who've raced in our eSeries in the past, they've learned that the sim racing can be a little bit dirtier, but this time it was really clean. I'm really happy to see that. It sets a really good precedent for these guys going to race there in real life this year.
Indeed. Joshua, what are your thoughts, man? This is your second opportunity to be with us here on the TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries. Did VIR with the prospects. Did we come here run against the pros? The interesting thing about running the iRacing platform is that, everybody gets a chance to get the seat time, right? It's not just working your way up the ranks into faster cars. You can jump into anything. And this gives us an opportunity to see some great drivers who are prospects like a DiTullio, like a Clark, like a Titus Sherlock come in and show well. It kind of levels the playing field, and I think that gave us a really good platform for racing this evening.
And it was a bit of night and day versus where we were in Virginia and where we were tonight, but a couple of names started to show through as fast drivers on whether you put them on a road course or an oval. Talking about Alessandro DiTullio, talking about Mac Clark, talking about Dean Dibdahl, he's up there as well. A lot of names that were fast at Virginia were fast tonight. If they're fast at Barber Motorsports Park, I'd be watching out for those drivers to be the dominant ones in this campaign.
Yeah, and the great thing is we look forward to the early March when we have our Road to Indy Invitational. We'll bring back a lot of our drivers who have worked their way out of the Road to Indy into IndyCar, maybe into IMSA. They'll come and join us as well. That'll be Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. So in March, we're back on an oval for another great night. This one was a good one for sure. We loved it. Big thank you to TireRack.com for once again stepping up and being our primary partner here for this year's Road to Indy eSeries. It is great to have Tire Rack with us. I'll say this now. You need to get some tires, TireRack.com. Get that order. Take care of the sponsor that takes care of this series. Thank you so much. And a big thank you to everyone at Cooper Tires as well. But on behalf, as I said, of everybody from the Road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires, Apex Racing TV, and my broadcast partners, Joshua Lee and Greg DeGeorgis, this is Rob Howden signing off from Indianapolis Raceway Park. Bye for now.
An important decision is afoot. This man is about to buy tires on TireRack.com. Tire Rack is the leading online retailer of tires in North America and a repository of advice and expert reviews. And it's done! All that's left is to arrange for safe, easy installation at one of our independent recommended installers. Well, I guess he did that too. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.